You have behavioral problems and aggression and violence in facilities that have adolescents that are convicted of felonies. That is just part of the business. We know that coming into it. How we manage that is where I think the rehabilitation happens. What we do with that and how we choose to address it can hopefully increase this youth's success in the community when they get out. We know techniques that, like punishment, threat or threat of punishment, can gain compliance, but that doesn't create the behavioral change that we're looking for in terms of rehabilitation, in terms of the youth being able to take something with them when they leave. It is not enough for a youth to just be compliant while they're in my care and custody. The long-term goal is to address recidivism, which means I have to be able to teach them how to change their behaviors. Part of that then requires us tolerating a low level of disruption. If they're just sort of holding the beach ball underwater the entire time, waiting till they get out, we really haven't met our mission space. So allowing youth to have some dysregulation or disruption and working with them to regulate and develop skills to address their emotional dysregulation, to change cognitive distortions, ultimately to change behavior. That's the long road. That is the long road that we take, but that's the road that really is the rehabilitative path.
So the regulation zone was created as a continuum of regulation. And so if a youth could not de-escalate or self-soothe on a pod or their living environment, then they were able to go off the dorm as long as they're not highly aggressive, assaultive, or a major disruption. And they would go to an area with staff that they would connect with and regulate. And so in that space, there are sensory pathways. There are other items such as physical activity for them to regulate and calm down. And then the staff will interact with them about their behaviors, what got them dysregulated, and then how to calm them down, and then work with them to go back to the pod and connect with the staff and discuss what their coping skill was to calm down, what areas that the youth will focus on so that they don't repeat these negative behaviors. And we want to catch those behaviors low before they do escalate so that everyone is safe and they don't end up admitted to security. The MAPS room is very similar and models this same approach or process. With the goal in mind, instead of returning to the pod, the goal of the youth is to return to the classroom as soon as possible and be successful in school.
What I do here is I deal with kids who may be causing issues in the classroom, causing disruption. Maybe, they had a bad phone call, something's going on at home. They could have conflict with staff. And so basically they come in here and I get them to basically regulate. This is one of my go-to activities. It's called box breathing. I have the kids come over here, basically go around the in right here, green, breathe in, deep breaths, basically in, hold, let out, hold, and basically go around about 4 times. So, it just helps the kids breathe, get oxygen into their bodies, have their mind, body regulate. They go ahead and get the activity done and they feel a lot better after. You can see it instantly. They're a lot more regulated, a lot more calm. And so I have them do their activities first. And once I see that they're regulated, that's when I go ahead and speak to them, figure out what's going on, what's the issue. They don't always just cause issues just because. Something's always going on. Whether it's back in the dorm, whether it's back at home, they're upset for a reason, and that's when they cause issues. They're young, and they might not know how to deal with certain emotions, and they let those emotions get the best of them.
Really, it starts with presence, and that's where we're trying to focus with our staff. The more present a staff is with a youth, understanding that youth's behavior and when they're off baseline and being able to intervene at the lowest level, then the more we disrupt that quick escalation. If I know this youth and I know that they're dysregulated, or they know themselves well enough to know that I need to get out of this environment for a few minutes because I am about to lose my ability to manage my emotions and my thinking, and I'm going to engage in behaviors that are problematic, can I be removed, or can I remove you to go help you regulate? And we move you to a different environment that has a variety of options for helping youth regulate their bodies. It can be a lot of sensory options. We have youth that really do love sensory sensory input to help regulate. We have youth that love exercising to regulate. And part of this is to get the body calm enough to access that upstairs part of the brain. That is the thinking part. And I need to get them physiologically calmed enough to be able to have the thoughtful conversation about what was the problem, what do you need, how do we get back in there, what do you need to be successful there.
And the goal is to get the youth back on track as soon as possible. The average regulation time, or in the MAPS room or the regulation zone, is around 20 minutes. So it very much is a safety valve in that the youth can regulate, get back on track, be safe, others be safe, not escalating to the point that they have to be referred to security, and they're back on track.
Absolutely, it's working. I wish we had, frankly, more options. If we could have a regulation zone on every dorm, that would be helpful. I think the ability to opt out of this environment for just enough time to get calm is essential. I mean, some of our dorms have, 1,000 square feet for a day room and 24 youth. That is a very tight, closed environment with a lot of stimulation. And so I can see why they would be dysregulated and irritated and agitated and need to be removed to calm down enough before they can come back into that level of stimulation. There's historically in corrections been a trend toward removing a youth from the environment and putting them in a security setting, an isolative setting, which we know is not healthy for youth neurodevelopment. This is just not going to help them long term. And so figuring out an alternative from use of force to complete removal and isolation, the regulation zone really does allow for that.